July 2003. The world was at Kobe Bryant's feet. A three-time NBA champion, a rising icon, and one of the most electrifying players to ever grace the court. He was the face of the Los Angeles Lakers, the league's golden boy, a marketing dream for sponsors like Nike and McDonald's. His relentless work ethic and on-court dominance had drawn comparisons to Michael Jordan, and many believed he was on his way to becoming one of the greatest players of all time. He was young, wealthy, and adored by millions. But in the blink of an eye, everything changed. A single accusation. A woman's claim that he had assaulted her. Overnight, Kobe Bryant was no longer just a basketball superstar, he was the central figure in a scandal that would shake the sports world to its core. The smiling, charismatic athlete who had captured the hearts of fans across the globe now faced a different kind of spotlight, one filled with scrutiny, judgment, and the looming threat of a prison sentence. The media pounced. Headlines screamed allegations of sexual assault. Supporters and critics alike debated his innocence or guilt. His reputation, his legacy, and his freedom were all on the line. What really happened that night in Colorado? Was Kobe Bryant guilty of sexual assault, or was he an innocent man caught in a perfect storm of accusation, media frenzy, and public perception? Was this the fall of an icon or the price of fame in an era where accusations could destroy even the most powerful figures? Tonight, we go beyond the headlines, beyond the speculation, and into the chilling details of the case that nearly destroyed a legend. June 30, 2003. The Lodge and Spa at Cordillera, a luxurious mountain resort in Edwards, Colorado. It was supposed to be just another quiet night. The kind of place where high-profile guests could escape from the pressures of fame. But that night, in room 35, something happened that would become the center of one of the most controversial cases in sports history. A 19-year-old hotel employee, an aspiring college student, was working her shift when she encountered Kobe Bryant. She led him to his room, as she had done for countless other guests. But this time was different. This time, she would leave the room with a story that would change everything. The woman later claimed that what began as a routine encounter turned into something terrifying. She alleged that Bryant had invited her in, engaged in flirtatious conversation, and then, suddenly, the situation took a dark turn. She described feeling trapped, overpowered, unable to resist what was happening. She accused the basketball star of forcing himself on her, of violating her in a way she could never have imagined. Hours later, shaken and distraught, she confided in a coworker. Soon after, she reported the incident to the authorities. A rape kit was performed, and just like that, the wheels of justice, or scandal, began turning at full speed. The next day, Kobe Bryant was taken into police custody. The world had no idea what was coming. July 2, 2003. Just a day earlier, Kobe Bryant had been preparing for another season, focused on his recovery from knee surgery. Now, he was in police custody. The allegations were serious, and the charges even more so, felony sexual assault. The world held its breath. Kobe was booked, fingerprinted, and photographed. His mugshot, a stark contrast to the polished image seen in commercials and NBA arenas, circulated on every major news outlet. The gravity of the situation hit like an earthquake. Fans were in disbelief. Some refused to believe their hero could be guilty of such a crime. Others were shocked, horrified that the man they had idolized might not be the person they thought he was. Within hours, the sports world was in chaos. Reporters swarmed outside the Eagle County Sheriff's Office. Every network, every newspaper, every radio station dissected the story. ESPN, CNN, the New York Times, everyone wanted details. The narrative was no longer about Kobe Bryant the basketball player, it was about Kobe Bryant the accused criminal. The legal stakes were enormous. If convicted, Kobe faced years in prison. His sponsors, worth millions in endorsement deals, began reconsidering their ties. Nike, McDonald's, and Sprite were suddenly forced to decide whether to stand by him or cut their losses. It was a moment of reckoning, not just for Kobe, but for the entire world watching. As he was released on bail, cameras captured his every move. The once unshakable confidence of a champion now carried the weight of uncertainty. The allegations had been made, the arrest had happened, and the trial of public opinion had already begun. The question now wasn't just whether Kobe Bryant could clear his name, it was whether his name would ever recover at all. As the case moved forward, Kobe Bryant found himself in an unfamiliar arena, one where basketball skills meant nothing, and legal strategy was everything. Prosecutors built their case meticulously, presenting physical evidence and witness statements. The alleged victim's testimony painted a chilling picture, one that, if believed, could lead to years behind bars for the NBA superstar. Kobe's defense team, however, was just as relentless. They attacked the credibility of the accuser, highlighting inconsistencies in her story in past personal details. They pointed out that she had been with another man shortly after the alleged assault, raising doubts about the origin of any physical injuries cited as evidence. The battle lines were drawn, and the courtroom became a battleground. Outside the courthouse, the media frenzy reached a fever pitch. Paparazzi hounded Kobe and his family. News networks ran 24-hour coverage, dissecting every piece of evidence, every statement, every move he made. Public opinion was divided. Was this a case of a powerful man abusing his status? Or was Kobe a victim of false accusations and a system eager to take down celebrities? Sponsors began to distance themselves. Nike delayed the release of his new shoe line. McDonald's quietly let their endorsement deal expire. The clean-cut, marketable image that had made Kobe a global icon was now in jeopardy. Every game he played, every public appearance, was shadowed by the weight of the accusations. But then, the case took an unexpected turn. Just as the trial was about to begin, the accuser suddenly refused to testify. Without her cooperation, prosecutors had no choice but to drop the charges. Kobe was free, but the damage had been done. His name would forever be linked to the scandal, and the question would linger, had justice truly been served? The case against Kobe Bryant was poised to be one of the most high-profile trials in sports history. The prosecution had built its case around forensic evidence and witness testimony. The defense had countered with credibility attacks and inconsistencies in the accuser's story. The world was waiting. And then, in a stunning turn of events, the case collapsed. In September 2004, just as the trial was about to begin, the alleged victim abruptly refused to testify. The pressure, the media scrutiny, and the public attacks had taken their toll. She no longer wanted to face the relentless storm of lawyers and journalists dissecting her life. With no testimony, the prosecution's case crumbled, forcing them to drop the charges against Bryant. But the damage was already done. The court of public opinion had already issued its verdict, and Kobe's once pristine image had been tarnished forever. Though he had avoided a criminal conviction, the case was far from over. The accuser had also filed a civil lawsuit, which loomed over Kobe's head like a dark cloud. Months later, Kobe Bryant publicly addressed the situation. In a carefully worded statement, he admitted to a sexual encounter but insisted it had been consensual. However, he acknowledged that the woman may not have seen it that way. His words were a mix of legal strategy and personal reflection. I now understand how she feels that she did not consent to this encounter. With that, the case shifted from a legal battle to a moral debate. In the end, Kobe and the accuser reached a private settlement. The details were never disclosed, and the civil case disappeared from the headlines. But one question remained: was this justice, or was it simply the end of a chapter that both sides wanted to close? The world would never get a definitive answer, but the impact of the case would follow Kobe for the rest of his career. Kobe went on to rebuild his reputation. He won more championships, became a family man, and even won an Oscar. By the time of his tragic death in 2020, many had seemingly forgotten the scandal. But had it truly been erased? To this day, the question lingers: was Kobe Bryant a predator who got away with it, or was he a victim of a flawed justice system and media hysteria? Some say the case was an example of how powerful men escape justice. Others argue that it was a consensual encounter that was misinterpreted. In the end, only two people know the absolute truth about what happened that night in Colorado. But one thing is certain: this case remains one of the most controversial scandals in sports history.